hanging out in my living room. I actually drank all my cinnamon water just now before I started the video so that I could just drink it while it's still cold, right? And get myself rehydrated. And today was I'm sitting in my living room. I actually just got done getting everything done for the day, and it was a real long day today. I had a lot go on, and so I guess I'll just start from the beginning. So this morning I went out to my lease property to take a look at the grass quality to see should I be fertilizing the grass right now or not, and et cetera, et cetera. I went out there to take a look, and while I was out there, I realized that I had a one real sick animal. I had one real sick animal out there, and so I came back home as fast as I could. I got my trailer put on my truck, and then I went back out there. And by the time I got back out there, the animal was dead. So I drove my trailer up to the animal. I found the animal on the ground dead, and the trailer and the truck got stuck in the mud. The weight of the trailer started spinning out my tires, and then by the time I got by the time I realized my truck was stuck in the mud, and I pulled the trailer off the truck, the truck is already stuck in the mud, and so I got a truck stuck in the mud out there, and I called an Uber, and I got over here again. I called a Lyft and got over here, and then I had to go straight to work. And then so it was a real long day. I was probably walking. I would say I probably walked maybe 2 or 3 hours, something like that. About something like that. I don't exactly remember, but I walked for a long time out in that sun. I mean, maybe not 2 or 3 hours. Maybe maybe about an hour and a half, 2 hours or something like that. I was just flat out walking out in the sun. And it was just a real long day. I had an animal die on me this morning, and my truck got stuck in the mud. My truck is still stuck out there in the mud, and I was actually taking a hard look at my animals this morning, and I actually think that I have one animal that's starting to lose weight. I may even have a second animal out there that's starting to lose weight, and I'm taking a look at my situation, and I think that the grass quality is too low. The quality of the grass is too low. And so I've decided that what I will do is I will bring the animals back home. And if the whole thing about my property, tomorrow morning I'll show you all exactly what I'm going to be doing. But my property is split up into three sections, right? I got the front, what I call the front yard. And then I got the middle area. And then I got the back where the pond is. And I figured, I could just leave the cattle in the back, right? I could leave the cattle in the back, and so I could separate my property into three areas, and then I could just put the big animals in the back. And if the big animals are in the back, they have access to that pond, and I could give them food. So I got to get. I figured that by Sunday morning or so. By Sunday morning, the property should have dried out. And tomorrow, what I'll do is I will go and I will put out I got these big old containers, right? These I forgot what they call them. But when you go to Costco, you can buy them for like $6, $7, $10. They're like storage, just like little storage containers, right? You just put stuff in them and then you stack them up on top of each other. I'll show y'all tomorrow morning what I'm doing. I'll put feed in those containers, and then I will take those containers out to the lease property, and I will leave them out there, and so the cattle will kind of hang around those containers, and it'll make it easy for me to catch them with the pen, and then I'll set up a pen, and then I'll get them caught as soon as I get my truck stuck out of the mud. And I get my trailer put out of the mud and my truck out of the mud, I will start bringing the cattle back home. And one of the animals, the animal that died out there was very unfortunate. And the animal, he was maybe 350 pounds, something around that 300, about 350. And so I figured that he was gonna be all right. I gave him his shots, and then I put him out there, and he was a relatively new animal. I didn't really precondition him or anything. I maybe preconditioned him for about a week or two, and then I put him out on that field thinking that he was just gonna be okay. And I went back out there this morning, and he was borderline dead. And then I came back home. I put the trailer on my truck, and then I drove back out there. And by the time I got back out there, he was already dead. And the reason that I took him out there, it is what it is. The reason that I did that was because when he was here, and I had him in the preconditioning pen, he was just kind of looking like a little bit of a weak calf. He was looking like he was just kind of weak. And so, I gave him his shots, and I gave him a shot of antibiotic. And in my head, honest to God, I'm just going to be honest about it. God knows that this is legitimately what I believed. This is what I thought. And, may the animal rest, because it was kind of a horrible situation. This animal, honest to God, what happened was that I believed that if I take this animal, what I had believed was if I take this animal to the lease property and I leave him on that lease property, he's just gonna eat the grass and do well. That's what I thought. I thought that he was going to have a better life on that lease property than he would here in the preconditioning pen, because that's what I thought was gonna happen. And I put him out there, and he died. All right. That's what, honest to God, that's what I believed what was gonna happen, and he ended up dying. All right, I gave him his shots. I gave him a shot of antibiotic, and after I gave him the shot of antibiotic, he was in the preconditioning pen, and I figured, well, I've already got him in the preconditioning pen. I might as well just get him loaded up on the trailer and take him over to the lease property, because he will probably just have a better life on that lease property, is what I believed, and then he ended up dying on that lease property. And so, that's honestly what happened. And he looked like he died he looked like he died from BRD and a combination of BRD and malnutrition is what it looked like. He probably started having BRD, and then it led to malnutrition, or he started having malnutrition and then it led to BRD, and then it just kind of turned into a situation where the animal died. But it looked like he died from a combination of lung problems, of some kind of a BRD, and malnutrition. All right, and I've also said that the whole thing about BRD, the animal may very well have had just severe malnutrition. I'm not entirely sure, but that's a very reasonable, that may have happened, because this animal, I didn't keep, I didn't, the animal was on the lease property, so I did not see the animal every day, right? I did not see the animal every day. If I had seen the animal every day, I would have, I would have done something about it. Right? I mean, I would have done something about it, and by the time I got out there, the animal was already dead. Or, by the time I got back out there, the animal was already dead. When I got out there this morning, the animal looked like he was going to die. I got back out there an hour and a half later, and he was dead. And so, it looked like, malnutrition and BRD. So, and, it may have been, the BRD that led to the malnutrition. It may have been the malnutrition that led to the BRD, but that's what happened. And so right now I got 4 animals dead. I have 4 animals dead, and I have one animal that the doctor is telling me is potentially paralyzed. I potentially have a paralyzed calf, and so that puts me in a situation where I've effectively lost 5 calves. I've left that animal at the vet, and the vet is looking after the animal at the veterinary clinic. And so I figured I'd just give him another week. The vet is telling me that he's not getting up on his front 2 feet, and they're not exactly sure why, but he's not getting up on his front 2 feet. His front 2 feet are just kind of not working, and the vet thinks that there's some kind of a spinal cord damage on that animal. And so, the whole situation that I'm in right now, just to go over the plans again, and but that animal that died on the lease property, and the animal that is at the vet right now, I feel a sense of it is. I just want to just make it clear that I believe that I should be held accountable for the situation, but the situation did not occur because of like I was not like a malicious person. I was not a malicious person, and then this happened. All right, this situation occurred, and I believe that I need to be held accountable for it, and I make my peace with God about it. This is one of those things about the cattle business. Is you're working with live animals, and I really care for these animals, and and in the past I've said that you kind of get used to it, but I'm not going to say you get used to it, because that's not accurate. What I will say is that deep down I understand that it's going to happen. Okay, deep down I understand that it will happen. Animals die. All right. I understand that it does happen, and so you know, I do want to be held completely accountable for the situation, but just to be completely straightforward about it, I put the animal out there with the intentions of giving the animal a better life, believing the animal would have a better life, and then the animal died, and then the animal that is paralyzed, I will have to go and take a look. Probably ASAP, maybe tomorrow morning or so. I will go and take a look at the calf, and so. But this is also, I guess, kind of a time to say it that I guess in terms of situations like this, where I consider what I talk about in terms of like the spiritual aspect and everything, and what do I see, and the whole thing about that, and I guess in this sense, money does not buy happiness, right? Because money does not buy happiness. It doesn't. All right. It doesn't matter, right? The finance, money's not, financials are not gonna, make me happy. Like right now. But this, I guess, this is a very relevant time to say, or this is an interesting time to say it. That money doesn't buy happiness. Money cannot buy everything. Okay, money cannot buy everything, and money is not everything. Money is important. Okay, would I choose to be poor? Absolutely not. Money is important, right? You can use money to create positive impact on the planet, right? The things that I talk about in terms of a realistic sense, the quality of life for the average human being is incredibly good, right? You have access to clean water. More people have access to clean water than ever before, right? More people have access to resources and etc. Right, etc. etc. And be a part of the solution, right? I talk about all these things, drive the world into a better future, right? I talk about these things, push the world into a better future. You can use money to push the world into a better future. The average person holds the solution to 99.9999% of all the world's problems. Get behind something. Go and be a part of something that you believe is going to push the world in a good direction, or go and start something yourself, right? In terms of a broader, I guess, more of a spiritual sense of business and the whole thing. It's like, if you think that we're running out of water, right? Just understand that there's water everywhere, right? There's water in the atmosphere, right? There's water in the oceans. There is massive sums of water in asteroids flying around in outer space, right? I mean, just understand these things. Don't be in a situation where you believe that burning it all down is the solution, because it's not. All right, push the world into a better future. Okay, push the world into a better future. Make a rocket ship that can harvest water from asteroids. All right, there are asteroids. From what I understand, from just the information that I have collected, just the information that from what I understand, that there are like legitimately asteroids out in outer space that are just completely filled with massive amounts of water and minerals and gold and everything you could possibly imagine. Legitimately just floating around in outer space. And learn, think big, right? Think big. Think about doing good, right? Think about doing some good. Right? Push the world into a better future. Right? Don't become a pathetic loser. All right? Don't become a pathetic loser. See the world do better. All right? Be a part of something that's going to push the world into a better future. All right? If you're going to be a pathetic loser, bum, then die poor by yourself. All right? Die a loser, bum by yourself. Don't take anybody else down with you. It's not funny. All right, if you start drinking the Kool-Aid and you start drinking out of the punch bowl and you start giving the punch out to other people and you start giving the Kool-Aid out to other people, all right, I mean that's not good. All right, go and be a part of something good. All right, go and be a part of something that you believe is pushing the world in the right direction. Any problem, if there was any problem on the planet, effectively any problem on the planet can be solved. All right. Any problem on the planet can be solved. All right, it's nothing should drive anybody to think that a cataclysmic end is a better outcome, because it's not. All right, push the world into a better future. Think about doing some good. Okay, and so the whole thing that I got going on right now in terms of the overall business plan is that over the next month I will be stabilizing the animals in the middle area right now. Right, I got those 20 cattle in the middle area. I have 6 cattle in the front yard, and then I'll be bringing home animals to put in the backyard as well, or in the back portion of the field as well. And then that'll put me at 45 cattle, and I still have some money left over in the bank account from selling my animals. And realistically, when I need more money, I can just sell some of my cattle, right? I mean, I have plenty of cattle. A lot of these cattle have gone up tremendously in value. If I legitimately need more money, and in all honesty, I'm systematically paying myself every 2 months, so it doesn't really even matter. I will have an excessive amount of money. The money's not something I'm concerned about. All right, I still have some money left in my bank account from selling the animals a couple weeks ago. I didn't go and spend whatever. I didn't go and spend $5,000, right? I didn't go and spend $7,000, $8,000. I didn't do that. I've still got the money, and and the whole thing is realistically by next week, or not next week, by next month I'll have animals ready to be liquidated. And in all honesty, there's no reason for me to liquidate an animal, right? If I believe that I can continue to make a profit on that animal, and unless I need the money. So, and I still have some money, so I could invest my money first, or whatever, right? I could invest my money but just in terms of money, as of right now, I am still very largely in the net positive. Okay, I am still very largely in the net positive. My investments, I have good investments, right? Like my investments are land, business, cattle, right? I have good investments. My investments are still good. All right, I'm still making good money. All right, money, but it's just an interesting time to say it, that money does not buy everything, and money does not buy happiness. In terms of, okay, in the whole thing about, and I'm going to say that from this moment right here, right? Right, like I take a look at my situation right now, and it's like I have I lost 4 cattle, and I have one calf that's potentially paralyzed. Right, money's not gonna make that into a happy situation. All right, money's not gonna make that into a happy situation. All right, but in terms of like, why not discuss this all the time? Chances are, up until whatever. But then again, the amount, and I talk about this all the time too, right? The whole idea that the amount of money that you make does not matter, right? The amount of money that you make does not matter. Money. You cannot save an idiot from themselves. All right, money does not save people. All right, the whole thing about why do you end up with people that make $12 an hour that have over $1 million in investments and stocks and et cetera, et cetera. Why does that happen? And then you have people that make $200,000 a year that don't have anything. They actually have a negative net worth, right? They actually have whatever. They make $200,000 a year, but they're massively in some inequitable debt. All right, that's the whole thing about utilizing debt is like if you take debt and then you buy something that's not even equitable, right? You're effectively consumerism, right? Not capitalism, but consumerism. Then that's not good. All right, that's how you end up in a hole that you can never crawl out of. I talk about this all the time. If you're in a situation where you've put yourself in a ridiculous hole, right? You've effectively dug a massive hole and then thrown yourself into it, or you've stood there and you've dug yourself into a massive hole. Chances are of recovering from that are borderline zero. And even if you recover from that, the reality of the fact of legitimately generating enough money after you have done that to legitimately put yourself in a good financial situation. Granted that you're not making something like $200,000 a year. Granted that it's not it's almost zero. All right, and I know that sounds horrible, and and I'm not saying give up. I'm just saying, it's a real bad situation. And if you have not looked at your situation and considered it to be very bad, you need to get your, head out of your rear end. All right. If you're legitimately, if you know anybody that's in a situation like that, if you yourself are in a situation like that, you need to get your head out of your rear end. You're in a very bad spot. You're borderline unrecoverable. And the only reason that I put so much emphasis on this is because maybe if I tell you the situation that you're in, then you will do something about it. All right, because there's a very realistic possibility. Like if you make $70,000 a year and you're $100,000 in credit card debt, you're effectively doomed forever. All right. If you have $50,000 in credit card debt and you have $50,000 in university debt, and you're 30 and you're making $60,000 a year, you're effectively doomed. All right, unless you legitimately start getting after it, you're doomed. Nobody's gonna save you. It's nobody's job to save you. All right, you're effectively doomed. All right, unless you really get after it, and if you got after it and you proved me wrong, I would be very happy for you. I would shake your hand. But chances are that's not a good situation. All right, you're $100,000 in debt, right? And you make $60,000 a year after taxes. You probably make 45. All right, you probably make 45,000 a year after taxes. That's a very bad situation. Unless you're legitimately willing to go live in a storage unit or go move back home with your parents for the next 2 years of your life and use every dollar that you make to pay off your debt. Unless you're willing to do something like that, you're effectively, is sitting there and going, because I see these people and it's like, oh my God, I'm 30 years old and I have $100,000 in debt. I have $20,000 in credit card debt and I have $80,000 in university loans and the inflation rate is 7%. And it's like they just start listing off things of everything that they see going wrong with their life. Oh my God, I'm 30. I make $60,000 a year. I bring home like 45. I have $20,000 in credit card debt. I have $80,000 in university debt. I have, I can't pay for anything. Oh my God, groceries are too expensive. How am I supposed to start a family? And all of these problems, right? Just listing everything off. And it's like, well, I'm just here to tell you that you're doomed. Effectively, unless you start taking drastic measures, you're doomed. Legitimately, all right? And the success rate is going to be very low. All right, you're effectively, you're effectively in a situation where, you would be better off Because right now in a situation like that, you're effectively just handing out the punch to other people, right? It's like you're looking for validation, and you're looking for other people that are in your situation to make you feel better about your situation, when in reality, you should probably take some accountability for your situation and figure out a solution. All right, because if you really got after it, you could probably solve your problem in the next 3 years, maybe 5. But even then, you're at a major disadvantage. You are at a major disadvantage. All right, it's going to be a very, very, very rough situation. All right, I mean, you're going to have to find. I don't. It's going to be a very rough situation. All right, it's going to be very difficult. You're probably not going to make it out. All right. And I'm not saying that to be malicious. I don't know how else to put it. When I look at a balance sheet, when I look at some of these financials, because the thing about me is that, it just is, I'm very good with money, right? I effectively have some of the best financials on the planet. And when I see something like that, I mean, that is bad. All right. If you're $100,000 in debt, and you make and you bring home $45,000 a year after taxes and everything, that is bad. All right, that is bad. And if you're not systematically looking to do better for yourself in that situation, you're effectively doomed. All right, and you're really gonna have to figure it out. You're really gonna have to get after it. You're really gonna have to get after it. Find a way. And I always say that, in terms of a realistic sense. Granted that you're not in some astronomical amount of debt. Like, even in a situation where it's like, let's just take this whole thing for example. You bring home $60,000 a year, but after taxes you bring home 45. You have $100,000 in debt, and and you're sitting there in this situation. Effectively everybody, almost everybody, and this is the whole thing about a majority of people. When you actually listen to their problems, when you actually listen to their financial problems and the problems that they are having in their life, particularly around money, almost always $2,000 a month would fix their problem, as well as they become as long as as well as this person needs to not be an idiot, right? If this person legitimately started making an extra $2,000 a month, and started, effectively did not act like an idiot anymore, their life would effectively be fixed. Effectively everybody, right? Almost everybody, because effectively everybody makes the same range of money. Almost everybody. All right, almost everybody effectively makes the same range of money. And, and I've talked about this even from my perspective, where I make a drastic amount of money. If I started to act like a poor person, I would become poor within 12 hours. It doesn't matter. The amount of money is negligible. If you have an idiot, then you have an idiot. All right, this is very important to understand, right? That's the whole thing. It's like, and I use my life as an example. If I started to act like a poor person, I would become poor within 12 hours, right? And so, and it doesn't matter, the amount of money does not matter. All right, because I could go, and it's like, and this whole argument about, oh my God, rich people take debt and don't pay their debt back is ridiculous. All right. I mean, that's ridiculous. I mean, rich people, they may not pay their debt back, but they pay their bankers back. They pay interest on their loans. They're not just holding on to this money and not paying anything back. They don't, they're not sitting there not paying the interest on their loans, right? They're not sitting there not paying the banker back. Right? I mean, it's ridiculous. This whole idea of, oh my God, rich people take loans and then they never pay their debt back. That's ridiculous, all right? If a rich person takes debt, they probably have interest on that debt. And even if it's an interest-only loan, they will have to pay interest forever. All right, don't be ridiculous. Don't be an idiot. All right. Even if rich people don't pay their debt back, they are paying interest on their loans, and if they don't, then they default, just like anybody else. All right, don't be an idiot. All right, but the whole thing, effectively everybody makes the same range of money. And if you sat there and you stopped acting, effectively everybody stopped acting like an idiot and started making an extra, really pushed yourself, really push yourself. You are going to have to push yourself. Nobody's going to spoon feed you money. All right, you're gonna have to push yourself. You're gonna have to find some way. And I've always said that the whole idea is do it or you die in the process. All right. And I use farming as an example. Do it or die in the process. That's effectively how I had to do it. All right, I put everything that I had into this thing. And, I put everything that I had into this thing. Legitimately everything. And even now I continue to do so. Granted that my results have improved drastically, all right? And also, do it or die in the process, all right? No more pissy parties. No more, oh my God, everything is unfair. Nobody cares, all right? Don't give everybody else the Kool-Aid. Nobody cares, all right? You either do it or you die in the process. All right, find a way. If you can, and when I say don't be an idiot, one of the things what I'm talking about is, one of the most realistic things that you can do, that anybody can do, is just take a look at how much money you are spending and take a look at how much money you are making, all right? Just from that, make sure that the amount of money that you are spending is less than the money that you are making. Just that. Just that alone. All right, just that alone is a very good habit. And and then also work on increasing your income systematically. Maybe you find a way to make $200 here, you find a way to make $500 here, you find a way to make whatever. You find a way to make a couple $100 a month here, et cetera, et cetera. All right. I don't, find something, all right? Find a better, maybe if you're working at a job, why not continue to apply for other jobs, right? Why not continue to apply for other jobs, even if you have a job and you can, move around different jobs and get yourself a better job, right? Why not, right? Get yourself a better job. I mean, find some line of work that will pay you more money and go and do that. Go and do something else that will make you more money, et cetera, all right? Do something, all right? Systematically increase the amount of money that you're making. It probably won't even all be from one place. If it is all from one place, that's fantastic, but it probably won't be, okay? Find, but if you can find a way to make, an extra $2,000 a month, lower the amount of money that you're making. Or, excuse me, not lower the amount of money that you're making, lower the amount of money that you are spending below what you are making. So make more than you spend, make more money, and use the margin to, improve your financial situation, all right? Don't go and increase your lifestyle. Don't go and, oh my God, now's my chance to whatever, right? Now's my chance to go and, whatever, right? Do some ridiculous thing. Work on improving your financial situation, all right? And, if you don't, I mean, you're going to die poor, legitimately, all right? And the whole thing, and I talk about this in a realistic sense, like in terms of my situation, I make about 4 or 5 times more money than I spend. I make about 4 or 5 times more money than I spend. And one of the big benefits of this, living like this, making drastically more money than I spend, is that I legitimately do not have to worry about money at all. I don't worry about money at all. Effectively, my money goes into growing my business. All right? That's where my money goes. My money goes into growing my business, all right? That's what I do with the money. I grow my business with it. And then and then I don't worry about money. I just sit here and I don't worry about money. I legitimately do not have to worry about money at all, okay? That's one of the big benefits of living like this, all right? Like being in this situation where I make drastically more money than I spend, is that like I live in a plenty. I live in a trailer. I understand that. But it's plenty okay, right? It's just me, right? It's not like I have. It's not like I have. 3 kids or nothing. It's not like I have children and a wife. It's just me, right? I mean, realistically, like as a single dude, in all honesty, if it came down to it, I would even sleep in a. I would even live in a what is it? In a shipping container. All right. I mean, why wouldn't I? Why would I care, right? I mean, it just in terms of why would I care? I mean, the whole thing. Why would I care if it's just me? I would sleep in a shipping container. All right. If it came down to it, and I wouldn't care. It wouldn't bother me one bit. All right, I've legitimately, it wouldn't bother me one bit. I'd sleep in a storage unit. It wouldn't bother me. I live in a trailer. All right, but I don't care. I mean, it don't matter to me. All right, but one of the big benefits of living like this is that I legitimately can just put all of my money back into my business. That's one of the big benefits of living like this is that I can legitimately just put all of my money back into my business, and that's fantastic, right? Just to put things in perspective, and the whole idea of the business right now is that I got these animals in the middle right now that are being preconditioned, and I would say that the average weight on the small ones is probably getting close to about 2 1/4. It's probably getting to about 2 1/4, and maybe about about 2 1/4. I would say they're getting to about 2 1/4, and they're all getting to be pretty okay. I still have a couple of calves that are just they're kind of weak, but they are eating out of the feed bunk. They are eating. I think that they just need a little bit more time. They're still kind of sucked in. All right, they're still kind of sucked in, but they are eating out of the feed bunk, and I think that they just need a little bit more time to really develop that rumen. And once the calves are stabilized, I will add animals to that herd because effectively, here maybe in about 2 or 3 weeks, they'll be about 250 on the average, and 250 is kind of the golden spot for me bringing home new animals. And so, I'll add animals to that herd, and by the time I start adding animals to that herd, I'll have animals ready for sale. And if whenever I need more money, I can just liquidate my assets, and I can reinvest the earnings, et cetera, et cetera. So, realistically, over the next maybe month and a half, maybe over the next month, I'll be selling 23 animals. I'll be selling 23 animals, and when I sell those 23 animals, I will probably make enough. I'll probably end up selling about 20 animals in the next month and a half. I'll end up selling maybe about a 20 something like that, and then 2 months after that, I'll have another 10 ready to go or so, and so, you know, I'll have 20 animals, about 20 ready to go. Maybe I would say it's about 20, 18 or 20. And when I sell these 20 cattle, I'll probably make enough money to buy 35 and 2 loads of grain. All right, and then in the summer months, I probably won't even be buying fertilizer. So I mean, and so, here very shortly, whenever I need more money, I can just liquidate the animals and reinvest the earnings. It's not that big of a deal. The money's not something I'm worried about. If I ever enter financial hot water, I'll tell you what's happening. But the whole idea is that I don't the thing about financials and the thing about money is that in terms of a realistic sense, I am one of like the best in terms of just handling my personal finances. I am one of the best in the world at it. All right, I am one of the best in the world at it. I don't have a major spending problem in any shape or form. Right, I don't do drugs. I don't go gambling. I don't go around like an idiot trying to slap people in the face with money or nothing like that. I don't do none of that stuff. I live in my trailer. My business is growing by about 20-25% a month. I make about 5 times, 4 times more than I spend. I don't, and it is what it is. I mean, I'm doing real well for myself, and it just is what it is. But right now, the whole thing, I got 4 dead animals, and I got one animal that's potentially paralyzed. And so, tomorrow morning I'm gonna go and check up on that animal at the vet, and I'm gonna see maybe I just need to give him another week or something. But I'll figure it out. I kind of wanted to see. I kind of wanted to give him 2 weeks, and he's been at the vet for maybe about 10 days now. So I want to go and see if he's doing any better at all. And if he's not, then I may just have to. Well, I'll figure it out. I'll just keep my fingers crossed. Maybe just give him another week and see what happens. And but that leaves me with 45 animals. Out of those 45 animals, 14 of them are real small. Under 14 of them. The average on the 14 of them are probably about a 200 to 2.25. But the rest of them are pretty big. All right, I got that leaves me with 31 animals that are relatively large. And so those 31 animals will probably all 31 of those animals will be going to the sell barn within the next 3 months. And I'll be reinvesting my earnings and growing the 14 animals that I got, the small animals. I'll be growing the size of that herd, and raising more animals, etc., etc. And so but that's everything that I got going on. All right, and tomorrow morning when I'm out at the field, I'll show you all exactly what I'm looking to do. Put the animals in the back, and I got the animals in the middle, and I got some animals in the front too, and I'll show you all exactly what I'm gonna do. And that's it for me today, YouTube. Y'all have a good one. All right.